Okay, so we're going to start talking about World War I and the U.S. entry. Why did the United States join the war? Okay, so World War I was already going on for 3 years before the United States even got involved. And what happens is the Germans start trying to destroy the British Navy by sending out their submarines to destroy the British Navy. And so what happens is the British need supplies from the Americans. And so they're still sending ships over, and their ships keep getting sunk. Now, the Germans aren't just sinking the merchant ships that have like all the supplies on them. The Germans are also going to start sinking passenger boats, okay? So the Germans talk to or send out a message to everybody in the newspapers and everything, saying that if you travel on British boats as Americans, even though you're neutral, if you travel on the British boats, you're at risk for your life. You may end up at the bottom of the ocean. And so they give this notice from the German embassy that watch out, don't travel on these ships, okay? Now, a bunch of Americans travel on the Lusitania. It's a passenger ship, kind of like the Titanic. And what happens is the Germans sink the Lusitania. So they hit it with a torpedo and they sink it in 20 minutes. And 128 American lives are lost. And so they're really mad about the Lusitania being sunk and killing all of those Americans. Okay? Now, they sink this boat because they're practicing what we call unrestricted submarine warfare, which is the idea that we're going to sink any boat that's in the water that's not ours as a way to help defeat the British, okay, and the French. So, restricted submarine warfare means they're just attacking the other navy and maybe the merchant ships to put the supplies at the bottom of the ocean, all the ammo and the guns and the tanks and everything. And so they would stop a ship and they would say, hello, hello. And they'd say, we're going to sink you. Okay, so you might want to get on the lifeboats. And so the crew would come out of the British boat and get on the lifeboats. And then the Germans would sink the ship, and they would then call the British Coast Guard and say, hey, we just sunk one of your ships. Your men are out in the ocean. You might want to go get them. And then the U-boat, or the submarine, would go away. Now, restricted is, we see you, we're going to sink you. Okay? So, the Germans are going to go between restricted and unrestricted throughout the war, but they're only targeting Americans during the unrestricted period. All right? So, this is going on, and it's making Americans really mad. But what happens is Germany then comes up with a plan. Okay, Germany has to defeat the British. The French are almost out of the war. But they have to defeat the British, and they want to keep America busy and not let America get into the war. And so they send the Zimmermann telegram to Mexico. Now, it's intercepted by the British and decoded. This is an actual copy of the telegram that was sent. And in the telegram, Germany asks Mexico to attack the United States. Mexico's mad at the United States because the United States stole territory from Mexico in the last Mexican-American War. So Germany's saying, hey, Mexico, how about you attack the United States and keep them busy? While you're keeping the United States busy, we'll attack Britain and starve them out, and that'll be the end of the war. And then when we come and help you finish off the United States and sign a peace treaty, we'll help you get back all that territory you lost. Now, we don't know how Mexico responded to this. They never said. Okay, we know that they got it because it was a telegram and it goes through the wires. It's like having a phone conversation, but someone's tapped in, and so they're listening. But Mexico doesn't act on this. Okay? However, the British decode it and send it to the Americans, and they print it on the front page of every single newspaper. So this is going to make Americans really, really mad. Okay, so we're mad at the Germans, not only for sinking our boats, but also for trying to get Mexico involved. And we are kind of like, Mexico's our little upstart little nation. They haven't had a stable government, so we don't think they're really going to do any damage to us. Okay? Now, the Germans are going to go back to unrestricted sub-warfare. This is in January. And by April, we're so mad about everything. They're sinking our ships again. They've tried to get Mexico involved, that President Wilson is going to go to Congress and ask for a declaration of war. And America is going to vote almost unanimously. Okay, only one person says no to go to war. And so because of that, we join World War I. Okay? Oops. How do I stop it?